So we have this thing. It's kind of a, I don't know, part of the tradition, culture. I'm not sure. Where when someone passes, your front door's open. So we parked up, and the door was open, and I was like, okay, and that was it. I just knew. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I walked in, and yeah, my family were in bits. So I'm from a Sikh Indian background. So my parents are, my dad was actually born in India, but he moved over to the UK very early on. But my mother was born in India, and she moved over when she married my dad. Culturally, yeah, we've been brought up, I think, in the middle of North Birmingham. So it's a town called Walsall. Where there was a very mixed culture of Indians, Muslims, Christians. You know, it was very mixed. So we had a good mix of different cultures around us. But I think it was really important for my parents to make sure that even though we were being educated and we were out and we were different, you know, different cultures, that we came home and we learnt our mother tongue, which is Punjabi, and we spoke to our grandparents in Punjabi, so that when we do grow up, we've got both worlds, and we're not just, you know, educating and we're forgetting what our motherland is really. So being in that culture and losing a son and a brother at such an early age, it was quite overwhelming actually, because you had two sides to it. Everyone I could ever have known through college, through school, were all there. Like, I couldn't even see past the sea of people as we got out of the house. There was that many people. And everyone came together for weeks afterwards as well. The support was amazing in that sense. And I could turn to anyone I wanted. But then you also have the other side of it, which is unfortunate, where when people come and grieve and they come to pay respects at the house, mainly the older generation, they tend to be very overwhelming for the family to handle, I feel. There's a lot of wailing and crying, and it's almost like they point out the fact that, you know, oh, you've lost a son, what are you going to do now? You know, he was your oldest boy, and, you know, generation-wise and all those things. They say them, and they probably don't mean them in a bad way, but they say it. So instead of lifting mom, dad and everyone, saying, you know, we're here for you, we'll blah, 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 it's always pointing those kind of things out, which is, I think, quite bizarre and hard, very hard to deal with, and can get you angry because you just want to just tell them to get out of the house and just leave us alone. But then at the same time, you understand they're there to pay respects, and they, you know, they feel your loss, but it's not always done in the right way. So it's a weird culture. I mean, the first time I went to a funeral, an English funeral, was my husband's grandfather's, and I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, I've only ever been to Indian funerals, and it was amazing. It was just love and peace and photos flowing around and everyone smiling, having a drink, and I thought, that's how you should do it, you know, because you're celebrating their life. And I find the way we do it, I'm not saying it's a wrong way, it's just somber, you know. And again, you'll get judged if you ever wanted to go out and sit and have a quiet drink. You've just lost your brother. If I'd ever done that, it would have been, oh gosh, how can you're not allowed to do that. But, you know, we as friends, we did sit down, we remembered, we talked, and that was really good for me. I needed that, because I needed to just talk about him. But yeah, it's difficult for my parents, I think. I mean, of course, it was hard. It was really hard, just dealing with it in the culture. Mum would just quietly cry while everyone would sit there. Obviously, when she was alone with us, it'd be different, and but yeah, she was just numb. She wanted to go to Manny's funeral. I stopped her because you couldn't. I think it would have taken her over the edge a little bit. And in hindsight, I wish I hadn't, because I thought maybe it could have helped. I'm not sure, but yeah, they didn't get time to do their own little grieving. It was just so full on straight away. It happened, and then it was just full on. People were there all the time, and it's like it's an open house, so they can come at any time of day. So it's not like people don't think about what time they're going to be there. But I guess it's like you said, it's like a grieving process for them too. But they want to show their respect. They want to grieve with you. But then the family are having to deal with it day in, day out, at night. It's hard, really hard. I went there the day after. They stopped me from going there on the night. Well, there was no stopping me going the day after. And there wasn't a scratch on his face. There was nothing at all. He looked beautiful, really. His face was stunning. You could still see him. But it just felt like he was going to wake up. Like he's not gone. He's still here. But it's weird at the same time, because the first time I'd ever done that was for my granddad. And I remember doing that thinking, oh, no, that's not right, because they didn't even have him, they just had a sheet over him, and that was cold. But then it was much better when he was moved to a, what's it called, the memorial place, is it? Yeah, I can't remember the name for them. So when he was moved there, it was much better, because it was just peaceful. He looked peaceful. The surroundings were nice, and they had. It was owned by an Asian family, so they had the prayers that we would have on for our Sikh religion on in the background as you walked in. So it just became that soothing atmosphere straight away. And it helped me, because I remember when I went there once, Dad was with me, and he was about to walk out with his brother, and he expected me to go with him. And I was like, no, I want to stay here and just talk to Raj. And he didn't want me to do that. He was like, no, you're coming with me. I was like, no, I'm not. So my uncle took him out, and I sat there, and I spoke to him, and just said what I needed to say, and it helped. It helped a lot. I actually felt better seeing him not leaving it. I even went out to pick his clothes for what he was wearing on the funeral day. Culturally, they're supposed to wear a turban, even though he's never worn one in his life. And I was like, hell no, not happening on my watch. So I had a huge argument with the family and got gel for his hair. So no chance. So that helped, but even thinking about it now, as I've gone through my emotions the last few years, I can't believe I did that as a 19-year-old, picked out clothes, picked out flowers, his hair gel, I know what he's wearing exactly what he always used to wear, bomber jackets, all these stuff. He looked very cool, but it's going to happen the way it should happen, not the way we should be doing it to show other people. It's our family, it's my brother. It might have upset people, but at the time I didn't care, and I needed to do that to help me understand that I've just lost him, and I need to do those last things just to, you know, that I'm never going to go shopping for him again, or never going to do his laces on his trainers anymore because he never did them himself. Those kind of things, you know, because he'd be like, oh, just sort my trainers out. So yeah, it was definitely something I needed to do. I realise that now. I think at the time I was in that mind of be strong, get on with it, there's jobs to be done, but not realising actually I healed myself a little bit by doing that. You need that time with them, and I think it's really difficult trying to do the right thing for your culture and your family, and making sure that everyone is happy, because everyone wants to say their goodbye on the day, but also then trying to balance that with, well, actually I want to say bye because that's my brother, and it's hard because you don't unless you go, which we did the night before. On the day you never get that time with that person because everyone is there. Yeah, so they're already there when they bring the body back to the house. So it's so how it happens is you'll have so my brother was brought back to the house, and everyone was at the house. And when I mean everyone is that when I said I couldn't see at the bottom of the road the sea of people, and they have their way of saying the goodbyes, where they go around the coffin while it's open, and the family kind of stands around, but there's not enough. It's never enough space, right? So they say their goodbyes. Everyone's obviously very upset, and that's the last time you, as a family member, will get to see him with everyone there. And then they close the coffin, and they'll take him away to the crematorium, because culturally that's what we do. We cremate in our religion, and that's it. You don't get to have your time on the day, and you kind of feel like it's stolen from you, because you just think, why? You ask the question, why are all these people here? But then you understand why they're there, but you just wish you were just there, and that's tough. But yeah, it's a weird feeling having everyone involved in that moment. But thankfully, we did get time with him the night before, and I got some time with him alone, so that was nice.